Update, I didn't get coffee for a CEO, they didn't get a fixed inventory system equals the aftermath, by user Shelliser42. Hi gang. This is an update to my original story, https://www.reddit.com/r/idontworkherelady/comment/get_me_get_coffee_get_out_get_with/. And that post blew up on me, big time. But it seems I still know IRL better than some Reddit mods, referring to other places, because just as I expected, no huge fallout to be seen. Sorta. Recap/about me. I'm a semi-retired IT guy. While I am retired, I also keep in contact with my previous work, and if the need arises I'm willing to step in. As a result, I've become a little bit intolerant to entitlement. I mean, what are people going to do? Fire me? I was tasked with trying to help fix a client's inventory system, for the simple reason that I was the only one who was still in direct contact with the company and had actually worked on the Java software himself. When on site the CEO demanded I'd get him a coffee, I refused. He then insisted I get out, so I did. And so they were left with a broken inventory system. Fair warning, don't expect fireworks here. But I still think I have a fun story to share. Even on topic. After I left the client's company, they were livid when they eventually found out that I was the contractor and had now just left. Very heated words, hearsay, were spoken between the bosses of my company and the client. This even went as far as assigning an official spokesman for all contact with the client. Everything had to go through him. My Reddit endeavors were also discovered by my company, but they didn't mind too much because it's not really their business what I do in my own time. Not to mention that I never tried to ridicule or talk trash about anyone. Yeah, that's not me. To be honest. I even mentioned that I wasn't too sure that I wanted to go back there, but, as some of you predicted, they forced me to go back. With money. Smirking face. Rumor has it that the client threatened us with lawsuits but had forgotten all about my signed worksheet. Oops. After that attack, all courtesy that was left went out the window. For those who didn't read the original story, this client belonged to our oldest clientele and thus my company used to cut them some slack. Not anymore. Since they themselves demanded that the Java expert left the premises, they now had to pay dearly to get him back. Since said Java expert didn't want to go back, they were even given a choice. 2 of the company programmers on staff would help with the transition, but it would take at least 2 more weeks because these were C# programmers and not Java programmers. My company doesn't have any Java programmers on the payroll anymore. Or, we could probably get it done this week, but that was going to cost because apparently I required persuasion, according to one of my bosses, and once again, this is pure hearsay on my part. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And no horseheads in my bed, thank you very much. Grinning face with smiling eyes. The names have been changed to protect the innocent smiling face with smiling eyes. Monday I had a long stern talk with my bosses and I told them that I wasn't too sure about going back there. Sure, I didn't mind standing up for myself, but my issue is with giving off an impression of rubbing it in. That just isn't me. That got relayed, they got back to me and thus made me an offer. Thursday I got the email contact info for Charlie, one of the company's programmers who was going to help me with the transition. Because we were moving towards a web-based solution, they were tasked with setting up the company server and we figured that we'd do the actual transition on Friday. I'd debug the Java software and they would imply the customizations then and there. This may sound a bit much at first, but the thing is, I've always been a Javadoc fan, all of my code is documented, and I took this even further back then and decided to document everything. Still remembering as much, I knew it wouldn't be too hard to debug the whole thing. Wednesday they sent me their cell phone numbers so we could use WhatsApp to keep in touch. Works for me. Because we had approximately 30 clients to set up/change, we figured the best time to start was at the end of the morning and use the company's lunch breaks to our advantage. We decided to meet up in front of the building and then take things from there. Once I got there, I didn't see anyone who could pass for a Charlie, and because I knew I was a few minutes late, I figured I'd ask a young woman waiting in front if she had seen anyone. No, I haven't, but are you Shell? She asks. When I said I was, she told me that she was actually Charlie. Yeah, short for Charlotte. It took me quite a while to find an alternative name which would work for this dizzy face, and she was the colleague I had been texting. Okay, not what I expected, but we can make it work. She told me that she more or less didn't bring up her gender on purpose, and honestly, I fully understood. My GF worked in IT as well, sorta. But that's a story for another time and place, that gives me an idea. I open the door for her ladies first and she grins, also asking me if I'm trying some moves on her, all in good fun mind you, to which I tell her no, I'm with a girlfriend myself and this is what she gets for hiding the fact that she was a girl, also in good fun. We get to the office and the whole atmosphere has changed. We're greeted by the floor manager, again, at least for me, but this time he's a lot more confident than before. I'm not just referring to the way he behaved around us but his body language as well. I'm talking the kind of, I guess your coffee making is over, kind of comment I really wanted to make at that time but didn't due to the rather tense situation we were in. Still mentioned for context's sake. So Charlie and me end up sitting opposite of each other. I sit behind the still opened up server, which was actually just a Windows XP client computer, and Charlie sat behind the computer opposite of me. And then it happens. Mr. Entitled aka the CEO steps in, but he's nothing like the boasting man I experienced before. In fact, first thing I noticed was that the floor manager didn't come running up to him. The CEO looks around, spots me and comes over with a somewhat defeated look in his face. I dunno, but it was nothing like before, nothing at all. So, you're back. Good, good. Trying to avoid issues, yups, all good. Thank you. We're going to fix your inventory system. Don't worry, leave it to us, I say. Good, good, the CEO goes again, we're really glad you could make it back. He then looks around. He then spots Charlie. He then stares at Charlie for a moment and the moment I notice as much. Hey you, cleaning girl? Get him a coffee please, he tells Charlie while he's pointing at me. What? They? Charlie looks at me, I look at Charlie and when I notice that she's clearly expecting some reaction from me I'm beginning to get some serious problems trying to withhold my laughter. I mean, is this for real? Honestly you guys. I am well aware of rule number 12 and I'd like to ask the mods to consider some leniency for those who may doubt this specific part because I sure as heck don't still quite believe it myself either. Pardon me sir but she's with me. I really need her here to help me but I do appreciate your effort, I tell the CEO who immediately looks as if he's stung by a bee. Oh, right, good, no, perfect, as you were, and he wanders off. What was that about? Charlie quietly asks me but I gesture her to can it and then text her that we'll talk later. At least he said please this time. I text Charlie next after which she now suddenly has some issues. I need to go to the bathroom, she says. Slacker, I tell her but with an obvious grin on my face. It took a little longer than expected but we made it. Once we managed to port all the functionality onto the web interface we started adding shortcuts for Windows Explorer on almost every computer to make it easier to open the web interface. Charlie printed out a list of licenses with usernames and passwords and the strangest thing. Something was definitely up here because when we told the CEO and floor manager that we were done we went over the new changes and explained how they could now open the new web program. Instead of clicking inventory they now clicked web inventory, but when Charlie wanted to hand the list of usernames and passwords to the CEO the manager quickly intercepted it. I'll take that, thank you, and I noticed a seriously defeated looking manager CEO. I honestly don't know what happened here but, this was eerie. Nothing but personal fun after this one. I was really happy that things turned out the way they did and Charlie was honestly amazing. The way she managed to adjust the web interface based on my debugging? Each to their own, but I was impressed. She really knows her way around C#. So, I invited her for a drink to celebrate in a local cafe I know. To which she asked me if my GF wouldn't mind us doing that. So I told her I'd ask her, which I did with Charlie looking over my shoulder at my WhatsApp. No, my GF didn't mind, as long as Shell pays for the drinks OFC. We had a fun afternoon because Charlie had heard of my encounter with the crazy secretary from hell through rumors and now I could tell her the full story, referring to this post. We even exchanged contact info but with the clear understanding that it's just on a friendly basis, nothing more. I really don't know for sure what happened over at the client's place but something was up, big time. And that's the whole story. Thanks for reading. Not as spectacular as before but we had fun nonetheless. I did work here, brother, by user Val Forte. About 15 years ago I worked for a blue and yellow electronics store. It was a fine job but I guess they had to make some cuts. Me and a group of 15 other people, all paid over $10 an hour, were let go on the same day for the similar reason of being late. As I was walking out to leave a man stopped me and asked me if I could help him pick out a new hard drive. I looked at him and said, while wearing full blue shirt and khaki uniform. "I don't work here, sorry, but that dickweed over there," and pointed to the manager that just let me go, "can help you." Then I just left. The guy was flabbergasted, and it felt a little cathartic to say no to someone even while in uniform. Edit, spelling correction. Learn to just keep headphones in and ignore the loons, by user Earthwick. I worked as a manager at a theater for years. My outfit was slacks, a black dress shirt with the theater company's logo on the sleeve, and a tie. The place where I was always accosted was a place whose uniform was red with khakis. It was literally a minute from my job, so I was there often. It wasn't a one-time or two-time thing either, it was at least a dozen times across 18 months. I'd be shopping after work or there on my lunch, or in the rare circumstance rushing through to grab something we needed that we were out of, napkins usually, and some almost always older lady would start off in a rude voice, "So this product is on sale in the 8 ounces, but if I just get a 16 ounces I should still be able to get the discount doubled, right?" Or some such nonsense. I at first would politely turn and point to the logo and say, "Sorry, I don't work here." Then they would usually huff off all upset. One time someone said, "Oh great, it's hard enough to find employees and you aren't even one who works here." The final straw was when an elderly lady said it didn't matter that I didn't work there, I still worked in the service industry and should therefore help her. I pointed out to her that I had no clue what she was talking about, and that if I were to start working there and hurt myself they would be liable, so they wouldn't want me working there either. The lady then asked if I could call my manager. I told her I am the manager and then walked away. From that point forward I simply put my headphones in and just ignored anyone who talked to me. They could be shouting in my face and shoving me and I would have still pretended they didn't exist. Fortunately they never happened. When telling this story to my friends and family I always got asked why not just change shirts. I worked a minute from the grocery store and 5 minutes from my home. So because of other people's nonsense I need to bring a change of clothes and change getting that ever-present popcorn scent stuck in another shirt just to shop for 10 minutes? Hell no. I don't understand this phenomenon at all. If I'm somewhere and need help I'm very cautious not to disturb someone who I'm not sure isn't an employee, and even if I'm near positive I'll start with, "Do you work here?" Also I'm polite because I don't get what being a dick would get me. This is just a random rant. A wholesome auditory "I don't work here" to get you through the rest of the week, by user Lucario_Stormblade. This just happened earlier today, and it was interesting to witness. As most people know by now, I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and today's IDWITEL circles around that. I had a pickup in a small town called Anvil, Pa. I had already made my pickup, and was on my way through Hershey and Palmyra, when I saw it. This older lady, with a walking frame, that had to be in her 90s, sitting by a bus stop, with someone younger, daughter, granddaughter, caregiver, don't really know. As I approached, my truck chose that moment to activate the fan, which is loud, it's hot in Pa, engine wanted cooling down quickly. The lady must have thought I was the bus, because she jumped up and started waving me down. I waved at her and the younger lady, and then I noticed that the younger lady, this happened in my rear view, as I had already passed them, point to the bus sign, and making a motion that I was not the bus. I did see the bus a little further behind me, so she did get the ride she needed. To that younger lady that was helping the older one, "I'm sorry my truck caused some confusion. I didn't mean to. I wasn't rearranging the plants, I was picking them out for myself," by user remote pattern 9419. So I live in the Netherlands and we have a lot of supermarkets that have a little flower and plant section before the actual supermarket. When buying plants or flowers you don't have to enter the actual store. So I was texting my BF about getting some plants for our home. I was sending pictures and looking at the plants together, moving them to see if they would look good together. Mind, I was wearing a black blouse and jeans, nothing like the employees of that store wear. I was moving around with plants in my hands when an older guy came up to me and started talking to me. Him, "Are you moving them around?" Me, not really, just checkin' which ones look good together for on my desk." I actually said desk, but if he fully understood. Him, right. I learned that the bigger plants need to go in the back, so they form a line from tall to small and it'll look good. Me, yeah that's true. Him, so these ones are incorrect. He was very kind and smiled while saying this. Me, oh yeah I'm just matching colors right now. The plants were indeed not in the order he suggested. Him, alright I'll let you get back to work. Me, yeah. I don't know why I said yeah because I don't work there. It was just an automatic response, but he was already walking away so it felt stupid to yell after him that I don't even work there. A few minutes later he came back though, as the plant section is central so you have to go by there to enter and exit. Him, still rearranging them? I kinda liked how they were before. Me, haha yeah kinda. But when you said that you'd let me get back to work, I said yet. It didn't fully click what you said but I don't work here. Him, oh really? I thought you were new, I didn't recognize you. Me, haha oh. Him, I know most of the employees but now I see that you're not wearing a uniform either. Me, well I could have been a manager, they wear different clothes and sometimes only a name tag. After that we laughed it off and I bought my plants and left. TLDR, I was checking out which plants to buy when someone mistook me for an employee and chatted with me until he let me get back to work.